Hello, my name is Logan Pierce, and this is my presentation on the differences between JSON and XML. We'll begin by discussing XML and what it is. XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It's been an integral part of every web application for more than 40 years. XML separates data from HTML and simplifies the platform change process. It can be used to create interactive web pages, store and render content data to the user. And the basic use of XML is known as an element. We have pictured here Charles Goldfarb, co-creator of XML. In contrast, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. The term was coined by Douglas Crockford, pictured to the right. His company, State Software, in 2001. It's an open standard file format that's used for browser server communications. In 2006, Google started to use JSON in its GData web protocol. While not yet as ubiquitous as XML, JSON is rising in popularity due to its simplicity and ease of use. JSON has been dubbed XML for young people by Scott Hanselman, Principal Program Manager for Microsoft. Here are some of the differences between JSON and XML. XML is a markup language, not a programming language. It has tags to different elements, while JSON is a format written in JavaScript. XML data is stored as a tree structure, while JSON stores data like a map with key value pairs. XML can perform processing and formatting documents and objects, while JSON does not do any processing or computation. XML is bulky and slow in parsing, leading to slower data transmission, while JSON has small file sizes, which means faster parsing via the JavaScript engine and faster transfer of data. XML supports namespaces, comments, and metadata, while there is no provision for namespace, adding comments, or writing metadata within JSON. XML document size is bulky with big files. The tag structure makes it huge and complex to read, while JSON is more compact and easy to read, especially those with some programming background. No redundant or empty tags or data. It makes the file look simple, clean. XML doesn't support arrays directly. To be able to use an array, one has to add individual tags for each item. JSON, of course, supports arrays. XML does support many complex data types, including charts, images, and other non-primitive data types, while JSON supports only strings, numbers, array booleans, and objects. Even objects can only contain primitive types. XML supports UTF-8 and UTF-16 encodings, while JSON supports UTF as well as ASCII encodings. XML structures are prone to some attacks as external entity expansions and DTD validations are enabled by default. When these are disabled, XML parsers are safer. JSON parsing is safe almost all the time, except if JSON-P is used, which can lead to cross-site request forgery attacks. Though the X in AJAX stands for XML, because of the tags in XML, a lot of bandwidth is unnecessarily consumed, making AJAX requests slow. As data is serially processed to JSON, using it with AJAX ensures faster processing and is hence preferable. Data can be easily manipulated using the eval method. So when I started this research into this topic, I really felt like JSON had a lot of advantages over XML. We'll go over some more of those here in detail. But as I researched further, I saw that XML also had its advantages, which we'll cover here in a moment. But some of the advantages of JSON, it's less verbose. XML uses more code and more words in its code than is necessary. JSON is faster, parsing XML is slower, and uses more memory. JSON structure is intuitive for anyone already familiar with JavaScript. XML uses a tree, while JSON uses a map data structure. A map is more limiting, but it's also more predictable and easier to interpret. With JSON, less is more. XML can be formatted to function any way a company wants, but JSON is easier for developers to read. So a lot of the advantages over JSON go over its lack of features, its simplicity, its ease of use, its readability. But XML has, I would argue, more substantive benefits than JSON. A lot of JSONs are just like, oh, it's easy, the file sizes are small. But when you read about what XML offers, well, we'll just go over it here. XML has a layered feel to its descriptive ability and is more readable to a layperson without practical coding experience. XML makes it easier to immediately spot typos. With JSON, it's common to miss a comma or have mismatching brackets. You just don't have to worry about that with XML. You can just see things easier just because of how it's laid out. XML has nodes and attributes, while JSON has objects, arrays, and strings represented by key value pairings. XML has a larger data size, but JSON relies on advanced libraries to duplicate functionality already available to XML. This adds additional size to the web application and diminishes the significance of JSON's data size advantage. So it may be able to process data faster with JSON, but you also have all the libraries taking up space and other areas like that, so it's really more of a wash. XML is a markup language that not only represents the data but also describes it. Adding additional data is simple as tacking on a node. So I'll be looking at some examples here of comparative coding. So here we have JSON listing employees, phone numbers, shipping address, billing address, and how it would be laid out there. And then we compare it to XML, where they put everything on the website value, and then they're just able to list all their I mentioned accounts, results, response, etc. So you can just see the differences in the, and again, if you're more familiar with JavaScript and can read it, the JSON is going to look pretty clean, whereas XML is like a big block of text. But if you're not familiar with JavaScript and you were just reading it, you could see billing street, billing city, shipping city, etc. going down the line on XML, and that just might make more sense to you if you're completely unfamiliar with code, because you can at least see everything in order. And we have an example here, comparative coding. So let's say that this was a test, and it was, what was the capital of Canada? And the correct answer is Ottawa. And so let's say that originally they only wanted one answer allowed per question, but let's say that later they change those requirements to allow for multiple answers. So if you were to modify that to allow for multiple answers in JSON, it would look something like this example on the left here, where you would just, it's no longer a simple object path. It's an array of answers. So the first array is Ottawa correct true, second is Calgary correct false. Whereas comparison with XML, we don't have to create an array with true or false answers. We can just simply add a new node of false below the true node for Ottawa. And so that's just another example of how XML and JSON differ. And here just is a little graphic just showing the differences in how they're all laid out. So you can look with XML, it's got document, paragraph, and then, yeah, the paragraph and document's all right there. Whereas with here, you got all the brackets and everything else going on. So it comes down to just personal preference for most of it. Some people prefer just seeing XML. Some people are more comfortable with JSON. In conclusion, it's safe to say that there is a place for both JSON and XML, with neither one invalidating the other. JSON is excellent for small segments of data that are getting consumed by JavaScript code, and certainly requires less written text to create the data object, as opposed to XML's need for open and closing tags on everything. When writing client-side JavaScript code, JSON is preferred for most data consumption. Ultimately, though, XML is superior as a data interchange format. It's more readable, it's more extensible, and simple changes won't alter the structure of legacy code if you're not careful. So I think that JSON definitely has a place and will probably be used more and more frequently, especially for more simple tasks, just because of its ease of use. But I can't envision it replacing XML anytime soon, because XML just has so many more features built in that JSON just simply doesn't possess. But I do want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to this presentation. Here are the sources, which you can check out those website links if you'd like more information. But again, thank you for listening, and have a nice day.